The Bible predicts that before the second coming, Israel would be born again as a state. It happened in 1948 and fulfilled a prophecy written in Isaiah chapter 66 verse 8. Who has ever heard such a thing? Who has seen anything like this? Was a country ever born in a day? Was a people ever born at once? Because Zion went into labor and gave birth to her children. Before Jesus appears in heaven for all to see, the glad tidings will be preached throughout the world. That is exactly what we have made possible today in the age of silicon computer chips. Matthew chapter 24 verse 40. And these glad tidings of the kingdom shall be proclaimed there in all the habitable earth for a testimony to all the nations, and then shall the end come. Have you heard recently about the Abraham Accord with Israel? The Israel-United Arab Emirates peace agreement, or the Abraham Accord, was agreed to by Israel and the United Arab Emirates on August 13th, 2020.
More than 25 years. Just a few moments ago, I hosted a very special call with two friends, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed of the United Arab Emirates, where they agreed to finalize a historical peace agreement. Everybody said this would be impossible. And as you know, Mohammed is one of the great leaders of the Middle East. After 49 years, Israel and the United Arab Emirates will fully normalize their diplomatic relations. They will exchange embassies and ambassadors and begin cooperation across the board and on a broad range of areas, including tourism, education, healthcare, trade, and security. This is a truly historic moment. Not since the Israel-Jordan peace treaty was signed more than 25 years ago has so much progress been made towards peace in the Middle East. By uniting two of America's closest and most capable partners in the region, something which said could not be done, this deal is a significant step towards building a more peaceful, secure, and prosperous Middle East.
A peaceful, secure, and prosperous Middle East.
If an agreement is signed, the United Arab Emirates will be the third Arab country after Egypt in 1979 and Jordan in 1994 to formally normalize its relationship with Israel, as well as the first Persian Gulf country to do so. This Abraham Agreement is camouflaged under a biblical guise called Abraham, because the Bible predicts that before Jesus Christ returns, there will be a sham peace covenant on earth between Israel and the Arab peoples all around. The Bible tells us that when they may say peace and security, then sudden destruction shall come upon them as travail to her that is with child, and they shall in no wise escape. From 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3. Those passages are mentioned in the book of Isaiah and in Daniel respectively. There are already three countries, Egypt, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates, which are preparing this phantom's peace, so to speak, of the Bible as a prototype. The biblical events in Israel and in the Middle East have continued to happen this year. I expect big events in Israel to continue to increase in the future, and it remains to be expected what else will happen. We know one thing is for sure, that Jesus' words endured unto this day and continue to be fulfilled someday tomorrow. Stay tuned and watch.